Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library by Chris Grabenstein. As you'll see, today we are outside. It's a beautiful day, and I really couldn't think of anything better than to sit outside and read a book. A book about a library. How perfect could you be? So when we ended last week, we had just stopped at the end of chapter 14, where the kids had learned that the lock-in was over, but they were still locked in the library. So let's see how they get out. Or if they get out. Chapter 15. Everybody, please take your seats, Dr. Zenchenko said to the parents gathered in a conference room at the Parker House Hotel. When do our kids come home? Asked one of the mothers. Rose has soccer at 2, said another. The librarian nodded. Mr. Lemoncello will. Just then, an accordion panel door at the far end of the room flew open, revealing the eccentric billionaire dressed in a bright purple tracksuit and a plumed pirate hat. He was eating a slice of 7-layer birthday cake. Good morning, or, as they're currently saying in Reykjavik, guten Sugen, which means good afternoon, because there's a 4-hour time difference between Ohio and Iceland, a fact I first learned spinning a globe in my local library. Mr. Lemoncello, his banana shoes burp squeaking, stepped out of the room filled with dozens of black and white television monitors, the kind security guards watch at their workstations. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this grand and auspicious day. Today I'm pleased to announce the most marvelously stupendous game ever created, Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library. The entire library will be the game board. Your children will be the game pieces. The winner will become famous all over the world. How? Asked one of the fathers. By starring in all of my commercials this holiday season. TV, radio, print, billboards, cardboard cutouts, and toy stores. His or her face will be everywhere. Mrs. Daly raised her hand. Will they get paid? Oh, yes. In fact, they'll probably want to call me the giver. And what exactly does Haley have to do to win? Escape from the library. I thought the game's title more or less gave that bit away. Mr. Lemoncello tapped a button on his pirate hat, and an animated version of the library's floor plan was instantly displayed on the conference room's plasma screen TVs. Whoever is the first to use what they find in the library to find their way out of the library will be crowned the winner. Now then, the children cannot use the front door or the fire exits or set off any alarms. They cannot go out the way they went in. They can only use their wits, cunning, and intelligence to decipher clues and solve riddles that will lead them eventually to the location of the library's super secret alternate exit. And ladies and gentlemen, I assure you such an alternate exit does indeed exist. The parents around the table started buzzing with excitement. Participation, of course, will be purely optional and voluntary, Mr. Lemoncello said, clasping his hands behind his back and stalking around the room. Several parents pulled out their cell phones. And please, do not attempt to phone, email, text, fax, or send smoke signals to your children, encouraging them to enter the competition. We have blocked all communication into and out of the library. Only those who truly wish to stay and play shall stay and play. Anyone who chooses to leave the library will go home with lovely parting gifts and a souvenir pirate hat, very similar to mine. They'll also be invited to my birthday party tomorrow afternoon, he said, as he held up a crumb-filled cake. I've been sampling potential cake candidates for breakfast. Mrs. Keegan crossed her arms over her chest. Will this game be dangerous? No, said Mr. Lemoncello. Your children will be under constant video surveillance by security personnel in the library's control center. Dr. Zenchenko and I will also be monitoring their progress here in my private video viewing suite. Should anything go wrong, we have paramedics, firefighters, and a team of former Navy SEALs, each with the heart of a samurai, standing by to swoop in and rescue your children. It'll be like Hunger Games with lots of food and no bows and arrows. Why not just have the kids play one of your other games, a parent suggested. Why all this fuss? Because, my dear friends, these 12 children have lived their entire lives without a public library. As a result, they have no idea how extraordinary, useful, helpful, and funful, a word I recently invented, a library can be. This is their chance to discover that a library is more than a collection of dusty old books. It's a place to learn, explore, and grow. Wonder why I love this book. Mr. Lemoncello, I think what you're doing is fantastic, said one of the mothers. Thank you, said Mr. Lemoncello, bowing and clicking his heels, which made them brook like a chicken. If any of you would like to check up on your child, announced Mr. Zenchenko, please join us in the adjoining room. Ooh, there's a lot of fun to watch, said Mr. Lemoncello. However, Mr. and Mrs. Keeley, I'm afraid your son, Kyle, does not enjoy the theme song from Rocky quite as much as I do. Rocky had done his job. Kyle and everybody else locked inside the library were definitely awake. Even Charles Chillington had come down to the rotunda reading room for Mr. Lemoncello's private suite. The essay writer, not with the group, was Sierra Russell, who Kyle figured was off looking for another book to read. "We're still locked in?" squealed Haley Daly. "This is so lame," added Sean Keegan. "It's like 11:30. I got things to do and places to be." "Look, you guys," said Kyle. "They'll probably open the front door right after we eat or something." "Well, where is that ridiculous librarian?" said Charles Chillington, who was never very nice when there aren't any adults in the room. "Yeah," said Rose Vermette. "I can't stand in here all day. I have soccer game at 2. "And dude," said Sean Keegan, "I have a life." "Do you children require assistance?" said a soft motherly voice. It was a semi-transparent, holographic image of Mrs. Tobin, the librarian from 1960s. She was hovering a few inches off the ground in front of the center desk. "Yes," said Kayla Corson. "How do we get out of here?" The librarian blinked, the way a second-hand calculator, the one your oldest brother dropped on the floor 1,000,000,000 times, does when it's figuring out a square root. "I'm sorry," said the robotic librarian. "I have not been provided with the answer to that question." "Will we be doing brunch here this morning?" Chilton asked politely. "I'm not hungry, but some of my chums sure are, and after all, it is 11:30. The kitchen staff recently placed fresh food in the Book Nook Cafe. "Thank you, Mrs. Tobin," said Chillington. "Would you like anything? A bowl of oatmeal, perhaps?" "No, thank you, Charles. I am a hologram. I do not eat food." "I guess that's how you stay so super skinny," he said. Kyle shook his head. The swarmy guy was oilier than a soggy sack of fries. He was even sucking up to a hologram. Chillington and the others tramped off to have breakfast, but Kyle and Akimi stayed with the holographic librarian. "I have a question," asked Kyle. "I'm listening. Is the library lock-in over? Are we supposed to go home now?" "Mr. Lemoncello will be addressing that issue shortly." "Okay, thanks, Mrs. Tobin." "You're welcome, Kyle." After the librarian faded to a flicker, Akimi said, "By the way, Kyle, before we leave, you need to check out that room I slept in last night." "The board room?" "Yeah, they call it that because guess what? It's filled with board games." "All Lemoncellos?" "Nuh-uh, stuff from other companies. Some of it goes back to the 1890s. I think it's Mr. Lemoncello's personal collection. It's like a museum up there." Kyle's eyes went wide. "You hungry?" he asked. "Not really. We ate so much last night. You think we have time to check out this game museum?" "Follow me." The two friends bounded up a spiral staircase to the second floor, where they found another set of steps to take them up to the third. When he entered the boardroom, Kyle was blown away. Wow! The walls were lined with bookcases filled with antique games, tin toys, and card games. "This is incredible, I guess," said Akimi, "if you like games." Kyle smiled, which, I do. They spent several minutes wandering around the room, taking in on all the wacky games people used to play. There was one display case featuring 8 games with amazingly illustrated box tops. A tiny spotlight illuminated each one. "Wonder what's so special about these games," said Kyle. "Maybe those were Mr. Lemoncello's favorite when he was a kid." "Maybe, but the slogan etched in the glass confused Kyle. Luigi Lemoncello, the first and last word in games." "But these aren't Lemoncello games," he mumbled. But the first spotlighted game in the case was Howdy Doody's TV game. After that was Husker Du, You Don't Say, Like Minds, Fun City, Big Six sports games, Get the Message, and Rough and Ready. "It's a puzzle," Kyle said with a grin. "I thought they were games." "Well, they are, but if you string them together, the first and the last word of each game title," he tapped the glass in front of the box on the bottom shelf, "you get the message." "Really?" said Akemi, sounding extremely skeptical. "You're sure it's not just a bunch of junk somebody picked up for like 50 cents at a yard sale?" "Positive," Kyle pointed to each box tops as he cracked the code. "Howdy, do you like fun and games? Get ready." Miguel Fernandez barged into the boardroom. "Here you are. We need you guys in the Electronic Learning Center now." "Why?" Charles Chillington wolfed down his breakfast, then raced up here to finish the game he scored last night so he can enter his name as the first high scorer. "So?" The game he's playing is all about medieval castles and dungeons." This time Akimi said it. "So?" "He's escaping through the sewers. The game has a smell-o-vision. Have you ever smelled a medieval sewer? Trust me, it's foul and disgusting." The three of them dashed up the hall and entered the stinky room where Charles was sitting in a vibrating pedestal chair, thumbing his controller. As his avatar sloshed through a sewer pipe, the subwoofers built into his seat made every squish and splat rumble across the floor. Whoa, said Kyle. Knock it off, Charles. You're pumping out total tear gas. Because I'm in the sewers underneath the horse stables. It's the secret way out of the castle. I'm going to win another game. That's 2 for me, Keeley. How many for you? Yo, said Miguel. The room is 2 stories above the cafe. The ductwork is connected. What's your point? You're making everybody's food downstairs smell like horse manure. Who cares? I'm winning. Charles' chair went flump again. This time Kyle smelled pine trees? Like one of those evergreen air fresheners people hang inside their cars. Ah, this stupid thing is broken. Charles jumped out of the chair and reared back to kick it. I wouldn't do that if I were you, said Kyle. Why not? Because there's a security camera over there and it's aimed right at you. What? Where? See the blinking red light? Suddenly, an image of Kyle pointing up at the camera lens appeared on every video screen in the electronic learning center until he was replaced by Mr. Lemoncello. Chapter 17. Excellent escape plan, Charles, said Mr. Lemoncello on the video screens. Thank you, sir, said Chillington, smoothing out his khaki pants. And just so you know, I saw an ant crawling up the side of my seat. That's why I almost kicked it. How very thoughtful of you, Charles. Mr. Lemoncello? Asked Akemi. Yes? How come the sewer started smelling like pine trees? Because I enjoy the odor of pine trees much more than the stench of horse poop. How about you? Oh, definitely. Now then, will everybody else please join us upstairs in the Electronic Learning Center? I have a very important announcement to make. Kyle heard feet clomping up the stairs, and soon Andrew, Brigitte, Yasmin, Sean, Haley, Rose, and Kayla hurried into the room. Are we all here? Asked Mr. Lemoncello. Everybody except Sierra Russell, said Kyle. Ah, yes, I saw her downstairs reading When You Reach Me by Rebecca Steed. We'll catch her later. It's nearly noon, and I'm eager to move on to the next round of our competition. What competition? Asked Yasmin Smith-Schneider. The one we're about to begin. Sir? Asked Sean Keegan. I have stuff to do today. That's fine. You're, of course, free to leave. If any of the rest of you do not wish to stay and play, kindly deposit your library cards in the discard pile. A tile in the floor opened, and an empty goldfish bowl atop an ornate column rose up about 3 feet. Just drop it in the bowl there, Sean. Attaboy. Follow the flashing red arrows to the floor to the nearest exit, where you'll receive a lovely parting gift along with my everlasting admiration for your essay writing abilities. Bright red arrows danced across the floor. Sean followed them. What happens if we decide to stay? Asked Akemi. You will be given the chance to play a brand new, exciting game. Is there a prize for the winner? Demanded Haley Daly. Oh, yes. Now Miguel shut up his hand. Mr. Lemoncello, what do we have to do to win? Simple. Find your way out of the library using only what's in the library. Awesome! Lame, mumbled Kayla Corson. I'm out of here. She plucked her library card into the fishbowl and followed the blinking arrows out the door. Does anyone else want or need to leave? Sorry, sir, I have a soccer game at 2, said Rose. See you guys later. She dropped her card into the discard bowl. The instant she did, bells rang, confetti fell from the ceiling, and every electronic console in the game room started ding, ding, dinging. Congratulations, Rose, said Mr. Lemoncello, who put on a pointy party hat. For sticking to your prior commitments, you will receive our special prior commitment sticker prize, a complete set of Lemoncello sticker picture games and laptop computer to play them on. Enjoy. Charles Chillington stepped a little closer to the security camera as Rose Vermette skipped out of the room. Sir, might we assume the prize for winning our brand new game will be even better than a laptop computer? Yes, said Mr. Lemoncello, taking off his party hat. You may so assume. I'm in, said Chillington. Me too, said Kyle. Me too, said Akemi, Miguel, Andrew, Brigitte, Yasmin, and Haley. Sierra Russell wandered into the room. Her nose was buried so deep in her book she didn't even notice Mr. Lemoncello's gigantic face on all the video screens. Is something going on? She said, mostly to her book pages. You bet, boomed Mr. Lemoncello. Sierra's head snapped up. Oh, hello, sir. Greetings, Sierra. Sorry to interrupt your reading. Just have a quick question. Will you be staying or leaving? Well, sir, I'd like to stay if that's okay. Okay, it's wondermus, another word I just made up. Now then, to read you the rules of the game, because every game needs rules, here's your friend and mine, Dr. Yanina Zenchenko. The video screen switched to a close-up of the librarian with red hair and glasses. Your exit from the library must be completed between noon today and noon tomorrow, said Dr. Zenchenko. Mr. Lemoncello's head popped into a corner of her screen. Tomorrow's my birthday, by the way. Mark your calendars. And he ducked back out of the screen. Our security guards will continue holding your cell phone, said Dr. Zanchenko. You may not use the library computers to contact anyone outside the building. You may, however, use them to conduct research. You may also request 3 different types of outside assistance. 1, ask an expert. 1, librarian consultation. And 1, extreme challenge. Please be advised, the extreme challenges are, as the name implies, extremely difficult. Pass the challenge, your reward will be great. However, if you fail, you will be eliminated from the competition. Kyle figured he avoided asking for one of those unless he extremely needed it. To use any of these lifelines, Dr. Zinkel continued, simply summon Mrs. Tobin. Chillington raised his hand. Yes, Charles? Would you mind telling us what the prize will be for the winner? The video screen switched to an image of Mr. Lemoncello, who had done some sort of quick change. Now he was wearing sunglasses and a silk ascot tucked into his shirt collar. He looked like a flashy Hollywood movie star from 1939. Fame and glory. The winner will become my new spokesperson and will star in all of my holiday promotions. We'll be famous, gushed Yasmin, fluffing up her hair and smiling at the security camera. Haley stepped in front of Yasmin. I've done some modeling work for Sherman's Shoes in Old Town. Yasmin stepped in front of Haley. I was an extra in a hot dog commercial once. Well, I'm a cheerleader. Yasmin isn't. While the two girls continued primping and posing for the camera, Dr. Zanchenko came back on screen to quickly rattle off some final words. Your library cards are the keys to everything you will need. The library staff is here to help you find whatever it is you're looking for. The way out is not the way you came in. You may not use any of the fire exits. If you do, an alarm will sound and you will be immediately eliminated from the game. For safety purposes, you will be under constant video surveillance, and you will be recorded. In the unlikely event of an emergency, you will be evacuated from the building. Creating an incident that requires evacuation will not count as having discovered a way to exit the library. Any questions? Just one, Andrew Pickleman, adjusting his goggle-sized glasses with his fingertips. When exactly will the game begin? Mr. Lemoncello's face reappeared on the screen. Good question, Andrew. Oh my, it's noon. How about, let's say, I don't know, now. Chapter 18. The contestants raced down the stairs to the rotunda reading room. Kyle saw Haley Daly dash down another set of steps into the basement to what the floor plan called the stacks. Miguel and Andrew, the two library experts, grabbed separate tables and started working the touchscreen computers. Brigitte Wadge did the same thing. Charles Chillington strolled out the arched doorway into the foyer with the fountain. Yasmin Smith-Schneider was running around the circular room with her floor plan in front of her face, like someone frantically checking their text messages while racing down a crowded sidewalk. Sierra Russell found a comfy chair and sat down to finish her book. The girl definitely wasn't into the whole spirit of the game. So Kyle said to Kimmy, you want to form an alliance? What do you mean? It's what people do on reality shows like Survivor. We help each other until, everybody's eliminated and we have to stab each other in the back. I don't remember hearing anything about eliminations. Oh, right. But hey, there was nothing in the rules that said we couldn't share the top prize. I just want to win. Cool. So, we're a team? Sure. Great, said Akemi. I nominate you to be our captain. All in favor raise their hands. Kyle and Akemi both raised their hands. It's unanimous, said Akemi. Okay, let's go ask the antique librarian a question. What? We both get to ask one question, right? Right. Okay, here's mine. Hey, lady, how do we get out of here? And you think she'll tell us? No, not really. So what's your plan? Well, I was thinking. Suddenly, Yasmin shouted, I win. The rest of them stopped whatever they were doing. It was just like last night when Kyle found a dessert in the most obvious places. To get out of the library, all you have to do is use one of the fire exits. Duh. She headed toward a hallway between the Book Nook Cafe and a community room reading A. Kyle stood up. Yasmin, I think maybe we missed some of what... Charles Chillington dashed into the room and shouted, You're not going to win, Yasmin, not unless you beat me to that fire exit. He bolted toward the corridor. Yasmin bolted toward it too. You guys, said Kyle. Kyle could see the red exit light glowing at the far end of the hallway. Charles and Yasmin were sprinting down. Charles stumbled and fell. Yasmin kept running. Harder, faster. She slammed into the exit bar on the metal door. Alarm sounded. Flashing lights, red lights swirled. Somewhere a tiger roared. Mr. Lemoncello's voice rang out of the overhead speaker. Sorry, Yasmin, that's where your sidewalk ends. You broke the rules. You're out of the game. Your library card will be placed in the discard bowl, and you will be going home. As the fire exit door slowly swung shut and Yasmin disappeared into the bright sunshine outside the library, Kyle checked out Charles Chillington, who'd been sent home if he hadn't stumbled and reached the door first. The guy was smirking. That's when it hit Kyle. Chillington had faked Yasmin out. He knew she wouldn't win by going out the fire exit, but he ran down the hall to fool her into thinking she was doing the right thing. Oh yeah, Chillington was definitely in it to win it, no matter who he had to trample. Whistling casually, Charles strolled back to the lobby. What's Chillington doing out in the entrance hall? Said Akemi. They told us the way out isn't the way in. Before Kyle could answer, Andrew Pickleman started shouting at Miguel, who had wandered over to Pickleman's table. Get away, you're trying to steal my idea. No, man, said Miguel. I just happened to see your screen, and I don't think that particular periodical. You know what, Miguel? I don't really care what you think. This isn't school. This is the public library, and you're not the boss in here, so just leave me alone. Miguel tossed up his hands. No problem, bro. I was just trying to help. Ha! You mean help me lose? Andrew stormed up the closest spiral staircase to the second floor and the Dewey Decimal Rooms. Miguel, looking sort of sad, headed up a separate spiral staircase. Bridget Wage trailed after them. Want to follow these guys like Brigitte did? Whispered Kimmy. I'll take Pickle and you take Miguel. No thanks, said Kyle, looking up at the doomed ceiling. I'm much more interested in the windows up there. 3 stories above the rotunda floor, just below the Wonder Dome, there were a series of 10 arched windows set between the recessed statue nooks. The windows acted like skylights at the base of the dome, allowing sunshine to flood into the room below. Do you think those windows open? Asked Kimmy. Maybe, maybe not, but I've never let a closed or locked window stand between me and winning a game. Just ask my dad. What? Never mind. Come on. Kyle trotted over to the cushy chair where Sierra Russell was perfectly reading her book. Excuse me. Hate to interrupt. Sierra raised her head. She had a very dreamy look in her eyes. I need a book. Really? Said Sierra. What kind? Like the one you found, up there. He gestured to the curving bookcases climbing up the back half of the rotunda. Fiction, said Sierra. Right, said Kyle. Love me some fiction. Well, what sort of story do you like? Something way up high, said Kyle. The higher the better. Really? Yep. Well, that's an interesting way to put together a reading list, basing it on bookcase elevation. It's like something on the top shelf. Maybe right under the hologram statue of that guy hanging out with the cat in the hat. That's Dr. Seuss, said Sierra. He wrote The Cat in the Hat. Sweet, said Kyle. But I just like how close he is to that window. Wonder if the window will be his exit out. Alrighty, well, tune next week. We'll start on chapter 19. We'll find out if Kyle figures out a way to get out and if the window is the way. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.